97.7 FM. This is the show that turns up the heat on the numbers that shape our lives. Today we're looking at 12.8 trillion riddle. Trillion naira riddle. 12.8 trillion naira riddle. Yes. And we're asking Atiku, not just asking, okay, here is Atiku demanding answers. Not just Atiku, but other Nigerians are also demanding answers to the 12.8 trillion naira riddle. Well, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has thrown a major spotlight on a staggering figure. Now, this figure we're talking about is 12.8 trillion naira. In a service-wide vote under President Bola Tinubu's administration. Now, Atiku is demanding full disclosure. Now, what exactly is this massive allocation for? How is it being spent? And why? These are the questions Atiku asks. Is there such limited transparency around such an enormous sum of public money? When we mention 12.8 trillion naira, this is not a small money. This is not a small line item. It is more than many state budgets combined together. It dwarfs allocations for critical sector. We talk about education, we talk about healthcare, infrastructure in previous budgets. In a country where millions of Nigerians are struggling with high inflation, fuel cost, and the daily cost of living. Now, questions about how trillions are being voted and spent strike at the heart of public trust as we speak. I know many people will be asking, Victor, what is service-wide votes? Well, service-wide votes refers to a special budgetary mechanism in Nigeria. Now, this service-wide vote allows the federal government to allocate funds for expenditures that cut across multiple ministries, departments, and agencies. Now, it covers recurrent expenditures. These recurrent expenditures include salaries, overheads, and allowances for federal workers. We talk about capital projects that are national in scope. We talk about large infrastructure, just like the Calabar Coastal Road. We talk about security operations and then emergency interventions. It is often used for flexibility when normal appropriation processes are slow or when urgent national needs arises. And that is service-wide vote that we're talking about today. Now, why does the 12.8 trillion naira scale actually matters to you listening to me right now? Because you might say, no, we've been hearing of this. Why does it matter to you as we speak? Now, take note that this is not an extraordinary large amount. This is rather it's an extraordinary large amount of money, larger than the entire budget of many states combined together. At this magnitude, it raises legitimate questions about transparency, accountability, and value for money, especially amid high inflation, poverty, and public hardship. Now, without detailed breakdown, we have other specific projects like the MDA's timelines and outcomes. So, this is why it also matters, because there is risk of duplication, waste, or maybe leak or weak oversight in all of this. And then we talk about an election cycle. Remember, we are approaching the election season. Now, such huge votes become politically sensitive because citizens would actually want to know if the money is delivering tangible benefits or simply expanding government spending without corresponding results. Now, let's compare that with other countries. Now, we have Nigeria. Service-wide votes is a special budgetary mechanism allowing the federal government to allocate large sums. For instance, we're talking about the 12.8 trillion naira for expenditures spanning multiple ministries, departments, and agencies. Now, it covers recurrent items, as mentioned earlier, the salaries, overheads, capital projects, and national scope. But then, let's compare that with United States, for instance, the US. Now we talk about supplemental appropriations and emergency funding. Now, similar in purpose, it is used for urgent cross-cutting needs, disaster relief, military operations, economic stimulus. And here is the key difference in all of this. It is highly transparent and heavily scrutinized. Congress must approve supplements with detailed justifications, take notes, public hearings, and reporting requirements. Now, these amounts are usually much smaller relative to the total budget and the income that comes with strict oversight. So there's a lot to talk about. So we talk about United Kingdom as well. Supplementary estimates. The government presents supplementary estimates to Parliament for additional spending. Now, another key difference here is that strong parliamentary oversight is required, is also made. The Treasury must justify every major item. Amounts are generally modest compared to the main budget, and there is rigorous post-open or post-spend auditing by the National Audit Office. So if we keep going on and on, we see different countries, having this what we call the service-wide vote, and the key difference in all of this. So today we're looking at this particular amount where Atiku Abubakar, the ADC presidential candidate, is coming. He's crying. He says, this is a time that we are dealing with economic hardships. That many Nigerians are asking the same questions he's raising. Is this service-wide vote a necessary tool for governance and emergency spending? Or is it becoming a black hole with insufficient oversight? Remember, we mentioned oversight in terms of the US, how they manage these votes. Again, where is the detailed breakdown? That's what Atiku is also asking. What projects or programs is it funding? And most importantly, are ordinary citizens getting value for this money? Now, reverend people, this debate is bigger, actually bigger than one politician questioning another. Trust me, it is about accountability here. It's about governance. It's about whether trillions of naira are being used to deliver real development, or whether opacity is once again shielding waste, duplication, or worse in an election cycle. Approaching 2027, such questions carry heavy political weight, and of course I'm not going to be doing this alone. Today we will examine these issues with balance, facts, and fearless analysis. And joining me to unpack all of this are two sharp political affairs analysts that will be joining me to unpack all of this. I've got one of the political analysts right here in the studio. I'm talking about Hartley Jaja. Yes, he joins me in the studio, and Pato Bene will join me via WhatsApp call. Hartley Jaja, very good evening to you and welcome to Political Fireworks.
Good evening, Vico. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How are you doing today? It's been a while.
Very well, thank you.
All right, so let's see. Pato Ben is trying to connect with me. Pending when he connects with me, gets him on the show. Okay, Jaja, let's begin with you on this right now. Atiku is demanding full disclosure on 12.8 trillion naira service-wide votes. Now, from your own perspective as a political analyst, is this a legitimate call? for transparency or political opposition theatrics? What do you have to say?
You know, Victor, my problem is not about criticisms. You know, as a matter of fact, criticisms are, you know, a key in every democratic setting, in every democratic society. My problem is criticizing all the time without preferring solutions. You know, when you talk about criticisms, you leave out the good part. Okay, you criticizing, what are you preferring? It's almost like a witch hunt. That is what we see our opposition do today. What is the security white vote? It's a budget that is stated for unforeseen, you know, national expenditures, emergency interventions, you know, national priorities, and all of that. So is that budget? Is it something that has never been there? If we boil down to even when, you know, former President Atiku was vice president, we have always had, you know, service, you know, white vote and all of that. So at the end of the day, when we see him come out, I'm not saying he should not criticize, I mean, but I believe personally that most of these things Atiku is criticizing happen even in his government. So what exactly is the problem? You know, I don't want to, you know, blow the APC's bubbles or all of that, but, you know, mentioning that Tinubu is doing all of these things in order to, you know, bring out funds for elections and all of that is very laughable.
Right.
I mean, APC right now, if I'm not being mistaken, the records are there. APC is the biggest political party in Africa. So how much is it that they want to pull out from the budget to contest their election? How much is it that they would want to, you know, pull out from the national budget to be able to, you know, do these electoral expenditures and all? So does it mean that APC as a party cannot conduct their elections without dipping hand into the national budget?
So, Judge, you're saying that opposition parties should rather prefer solutions than criticizing. There should be more. They should give more solutions or prefer more solutions than criticizing. Is that what you mean?
What I am saying is criticizing the government is good.
Right.
In fact, if we're in a society where everybody is shot and not criticizing the government, then know that, okay, something is wrong. We're not in a military regime, so everybody can, every common man, not just Atiku, can ask questions. And it's good to ask questions. It's good to know what this service wide vote is about. There are a lot of Nigerians, millions of Nigerians who do not know anything concerning this. And this is an eye-opener, good one. But this is common standard practice around the world. It might not be the same name they're using in the UK or the US, like you mentioned, but they all have, you know, intervention funds. You cannot expect, you know, the government to see everything or unforeseen things that will happen. This is just the beginning of its fiscal year.
Right.
Most of these expenditures, you know, go into some security interventions and all of that. We just had, you know, saw what happened during the Oyo and all of that, the kidnappings and everything happening. We know how much the government has put in, you know, to security and some other loopholes. Where do all those funding come from? These are where the service-wide vote covers.
All right.
So this is the beginning of a fiscal year.
Okay.
You cannot expect the government to know what will happen from now to December and saying that the money is too much. Come on, this, if you can realize our current situation, not just in the country, in the world, you realize that, you know, we have gone past. We cannot be using last year's service-wide vote to put on this year.
All right. Let's
considering our current realities. So
right.
that's the issue.
Jaja.
Yes.
Okay, Pat Obene joins us. Pat, good evening and welcome to the conversation. Hello, Pat, are you there? Can you hear me? Pat, can you hear me? Are you there?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Go on. Good evening. Hello, Pat.
Oh my goodness.
I can hear you. Go on. Good evening to you. How are you doing?
Great. Thanks for asking.
All right, so let's talk about the statewide votes now. Now, Atiku is demanding full disclosure. He says 12.8 trillion naira service-wide votes should be. There should be transparency in regards to that, and it should be scrutinized as well. Now, do you see this as a legitimate call for transparency from the opposition voice?
No, clearly so. It couldn't
Right.
transparency when it has to do with funds. The wealth belongs to all of us in this country. And if the opposition is not calling for this, there has been a very huge disappointment to the majority of Nigerians. It's expected. It's not calling because he doesn't want the government. This is the only way the government can succeed. Particularly, don't forget, in such a very sensitive time and season in this country, if you take into account the mood of the nation, you're dealing with, you're borrowing today, you're borrowing tomorrow, you're borrowing yesterday. What is the volume of revenue? What are the sources of revenue? So, and importantly, if you look at the nature of how the service-wide vote is operated, it really calls for further scrutiny, because the danger that goes with it is that because it attracts very large sum, there are fears of it can be reallocated. It can be reallocated to other issues, regardless that some of the items that are taking community and contingencies, and what have you, salaries, adjustment of wages, and what have you. But commonsensically, some of those items are things that you can intentionally build into specific ministries, departments, and agencies. Like me, you're dealing with personnel, right? Now, because of our poor political culture, our very self-serving attitude,
Right.
our primitive approach to public funds and governance, the fear that 2025 XWV, that is the service-wide voting short form, was about 638 billion naira. You should quickly do a check. So just within the fiscal year, the astronomical jump to 12.58 trillion. It is unprecedented. It defies every known economic theory.
Right.
If you critically look at it. So that's also a very great source of worry that informs this call. So it's just even beyond the fear that people are going to steal money. But that, what is the rationale? Can we please understand better? Because this wealth, these resources belongs to all of us. For emphasis, it belongs to all of us. So even within after 12 calendar months, you see from 630 something billion for the same purpose, you now have a reason to propose, and work towards 12.58 trillion. Man, it's not making any sense. And like I said, if you look at our attitude, we have a very big problem with the lack of financial discipline and transparency. So some of these items they could be created. For example, national state security. You only hear say, okay, they invested, okay, maybe the logistics, the military can just go and carry out the rescues. What about the victims? For example, like these kids, the relay kids, where I can't even time one permit us. We have over 42 in Gorodu still in the forest, and Jimmy confirmed that to us. And what have you? Now, what is the provision? Because it also talks about transfers and interventions, which is palliatives, special presidential initiatives. Now, if it talks about palliatives, the XWF is expected to also capture palliatives, special presidential initiatives. Why don't we see them spend this in this direction specifically? As in, you spend on the military security, okay, fine. What about victims? Those who are rescued, how do you go about, their welfare? What are the palliatives for them? We don't hear any such. Now, I'm just giving a graphic example of when we say it can be reallocated, right? And you know that it does have a budgetary cycle. So if by next year, January, if you cannot clearly define the areas you have concern, so that we see the justification, the legal backing and the administrative justification why such amounts are set aside, then we have every cause for concern, because these are monies, pool of monies that is not tied to anywhere. They are not tied to anywhere. So you could just ask some very smart people and just create this issue, let it be a justification, then we just tell them that is where we spend the money.
All right.
That is not what Nigerians want. Particularly now that it appears every noon, and Victor, if you recall, I've said that the way Nigeria economy is, political economy is managed, you now bring the best economists across the globe. Really, his feet touches Nigeria. It will define every known economic theory you have been trained and learned over the years. Because the structure, there is a problem of attitude. There is a problem of value system. And we now say what we call this election period. We were simply living in self-denial. Have you not heard of the one about Nigeria under the Vice President Champion? I don't know if it was our program or our sister platform. And I try to remind us that that's the same NDDC. With the presidential, of course, this president is also a part of CDPC. Spent over $1 billion hiring those forensic to check all those who stole money from NDDC. In the middle of it, now we go to the same ones off your mic. The man who was part of that is Senate President. Somebody from collapse. In the middle, we got a senator from Delta State. It was over 400 contracts. Until this moment, nobody has been punished. Nothing has been recovered. And the forensic report is still lying fallow. And the same system now is saying that over how many trillions a day have been allocated to Niger Delta for growing food. Oh my goodness.
All right. So, Pat, the government argues that service-wide votes are necessary for flexibility in governance. But at this scale, doesn't it risk becoming a parallel budget with less scrutiny than the main appropriation?
If you listen carefully, I don't take away that from them. I said by the nature, so it's a matter of nomenclature or the use of expression I get. It is yes, well, that's what I mean by the nature of how it operates. That's exactly the same I'm saying. But why is this one alarming? Take note. I said within 12 calendar months, with all the economic theories is equal, right? How would you jump from 638 billion, just less than 12 calendar months, to 12.68 trillion? That is a fundamental question here. That we are demanding the legal and the administrative justification why you should be looking at that amount. That's our concern. And we have every right to demand further explanation and scrutiny. That is the scrutiny we're talking about. And we're saying that when you go about the nature of which you operate it, if we don't do this scrutiny and we look at where your fears are, because it is when you point to us, the particular areas you're looking at, among all the other things, the flexibilities, then we'll be able to that gives a justification. We can begin to have our peace. Right now, we're all in the dark. You just want us to agree that by the nature of its flexibility, we already know that one. The one we don't know is that less than 12 calendar months, what is the legal and administrative justification to jump from 638 billion to 12.58, less than 12 calendar months? That's the emphasis. Less than a year within 12 calendar months. That's the point we're asking. Even when all other economic factors remain the same.
Okay.
That is what we're saying.
Okay. Now, Hartley, let me get to you now. 12.8 trillion naira is an enormous sum. In a time of economic hardship, what are the biggest risks if this vote lacks detailed public breakdown and oversight?
Like I said, criticisms are very much welcomed. It is very important that Nigerians ask these questions because, why wouldn't we ask questions? You are serving the people. You are not in a democratic setting where whatever you do or whatever you implement seats. So Nigerians asking this question is very important. But I feel that there are some people who lacks the local standing to ask some certain questions, because what I see from most of these oppositions are clearly witch hunt, because you see them always speak out things to incite the public. What is the service-wide vote for? Do you understand? Did they say the service-wide vote is unexplainable? Did the government say the service-wide vote is to buy cars?
But so far, are there detailed explanation as to how?
That is what Nigerians should be. But he is the former president Atiku, is Vice President Atiku, is trying to insinuate that in the money. That's the point. I'm not against him criticizing.
Right.
Nigerians deserve to ask. My problem is
The president right now, Goodluck attempted this same financial policy under subsidy. You recall, the current president championed mobilized Nigerians not to accept his explanation why the subsidy regime should continue. You recall that? So it's not every time you suspect which one. This one is expected of an opposition party. The same way the current president did to President Goodluck Jonathan, when there were efforts to review the subsidy policy. And of course, you could see the fallout even under him. So if you look at it critically, it's not about he doesn't have. No, that's unfair. He has every locus because every democratic system that is expected of the opposition.
Right.
And he has not called that the president should resign.
Okay.
He has not attacked it personally. He spoke to the system, spoke in principle.
Now,
that this is how this thing works, but can you do it this way? So that can be a win.
Victor,
yes, hardly, but
most of these national leads are things that you cannot even expect. I can understand if Nigerians are asking, that, okay, what is these things for? I need explanations. We need to know what these things are for. We need to know how these things are planned. A lot of Nigerians do not even know what service-wide vote is. Yes. And that is why the government needs to come out and explain. But if the government explain Atiku coming out directly to make unguided statements like if they want to use this money for the elections. I mean, APC is not a small political party. That you will feel that they really... Yes, I can hear you.
Now, if the government had
elections, I mean, you read it there. He made statements like that. The government might want to use this for the election, judging that this is an erase for the election, judging that this is an electoral period. Why? Why always want to put everything to the APC? At this point, the government, owes the citizens explanation.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
But not a figure like former Vice President Atiku coming in to make unguarded accusations
I love
the government.
I love when you said the governments owe the citizens.
Yes, because this is a democratic society we're in.
That haven't been done.
Good.
True.
Now that questions have been raised,
right?
The government should not always, like I said, if it is something that it is just beginning in Tinubu's administration, very well and good. I mean, if they want to start something, they definitely, consult the national executive, speak to the people. But this is not new. So if there are questions raised, fine and good. Those in charge would definitely address Nigeria, definitely address the citizens since there are questions asked. But what I do not understand is why former President Atiku would always come out to tent up the situation in the country, letting the people feel as though government wants to use this fund for election. That's what my problem is. My problem is why always bring out it's more like a witch hunting, looking for loopholes, and at the end of the day when he says these things, he does not even come out to, will I say, prefer solutions. He just comes out, the government wants to do this, why 12-point-something trillion? Because election year is coming, the APC wants to do this. And that is why I said, look, I'm not here as a APC spokesperson. I'm here as a public affair analyst and as a common man. And that is why I insist that APC is big enough to contest elections without pilfering national
Nigerians are actually strong. And at a time when Nigerians are struggling with high living cost, how do you think ordinary citizens will actually perceive this massive vote if full details are not provided promptly? Good. How do you feel Nigerians will perceive this?
These full details would be provided
at a time where it hasn't been provided. Good. When they are supposed to provide it, how do you think the ordinary citizens will feel?
Victor, you are getting me wrong. I'm just asking. I mentioned earlier, the government needs to address the citizens.
Right.
The citizens deserve
at a time where they fail to do so. How do you think
they have not failed to do so? This news
shouldn't they have come out to
because this has always been there. Like I said, it's more like you saying, if you are aware that this thing is here right now, do you need to come every year? There's already a detailed, cost according to how our national budget is being presented. There's already details. So if there's need for more explanation, then the citizens deserve that answer. I'm not saying criticism shouldn't go on. I'm not saying questions should not be asked. But what I'm saying is some political figures, led out opposition. I can understand. It is not easy. It's already painful enough to be an opposition. But not coming out to lambast the government, accuse the government of unfounded claims.
All right, but we've known Atiku to be someone who has a history of questioning government spending. Now, let's talk about political polarization now. Judge, I'm coming. Let's talk about political polarization. Is this intervention helpful in pushing for accountability, or does it deepen political polarization as we speak?
Accountability is the key word. Now, first, let's put in perspective this concern about him calling for election. Go back and read the reports, my friend. It was an inference. He said, if they fail, I'm happy our friend there agrees that there is need for detailed explanation on the part of the government. And that's the point Atiku was trying to stress. Now, it was in that line of thinking. He says that if they fail to do so, it will further fuel and diminish the confidence or fuel the suspicion of the public that the funds are merely targeted for elections. That's the way he put it. He was not he mentioned several things, and that's why he brought in the idea of the funds there for election if they fail to come up with specifics. And he had us to put that in perspective because of how our friend is stressing the point as if Atiku will not speak to the item of the funds being used for election. No, that's the way he put it.
Okay.
Go back to the report. Now that is the idea of accountability is the hallmark of this conversation. And I said in about 26 years of democratic experience, that has been missing. And it's largely responsible for all these troubles in Nigeria, while the political economy is one step forward and 10 steps backward. There is no culture of accountability. All those who are privileged to inherit power since 1999 we had the chance to return. Don't believe in the political culture of accountability. Don't believe in a responsible and responsible government. And attempt to question, they see as an enemy. They see, want the rest of us to accept that the Commonwealth belongs to the few of them who are privileged to be in the corridors of power, and that is not correct. That is not what Nigerians want, and we'll never accept that from them.
So, Pat, what specific disclosures should the presidency provide? Pat, what specific disclosure should the presidency provide to address Atiku's concerns and restore public confidence as we speak?
Come again, sorry.
No, I'm asking, what specific disclosure do you think, as a political analyst, the government or the federal or the presidency needs to provide to address Atiku's concern now and restore public confidence, of course?
Yes, amongst others, that these are areas by the nature of how the SWV operates and the purpose, the intent and purpose for this fund set aside. This is our experience last year in June 25. As we've moved into this fiscal 2026 year, these are the areas our studies, evaluation points to. These areas, there may be a recurrence in this area, there may be incidents in this area, there may be occurrence in this area. So we envisage that we'll set aside XYZ for this area, XYZ. But for example, now go check. Minister of Finance alone is over how many trillion? Then you have the Minister of Economic Planning and Budget having about 2 point something billion. How many workers do you have in the Ministry of Finance to attract trillions? How many? So these are the issues. So that people get to understand the depth of the concerns. So that's the kind of disclosure we are demanding.
Right.
That is the practical thing, the social reality. Let your disclosure be an embodiment of, or encapsulate the social reality. Like I'm giving the practical security, there's a trend. So we envisage, we forecast that it could go this way. So XYZ for this. Palliatives, this has happened in 2025. There's a spillover into 2026. So we envisage XYZ. Salary adjustments, because economic reality, federal or civil servants will do extra. That kind of specifics. Then some of us, the experts, people who reason, the experts who are in the field better than some of us, can begin to do their own evaluation to see if there is a legal an administrative justification from those specifics or disclosures that the government have come up with. And that's exactly how it works elsewhere. So now, I can tell you that because, first of all, the fundamental problem here is that the government itself and the political class in the government do not believe in the culture of explaining anything.
Okay.
They do not believe it.
All right. Let me put you on hold, Pat.
And that's very unfair.
Okay.
Promoting good governance.
Let's bring in
transparency and accountability.
let's bring in our fire starters now. The phone lines have been present since. So you can be part of the conversation. And I've got a question for you listening to me right now. Do you believe the 12.8 trillion naira service-wide vote, SWV, needs full public disclosure? If you believe, why? Why is the reason why it needs public disclosure? Why not, if you don't believe? Is Atiku raising legitimate concerns or just playing politics? Hit me up 0907-7106-501 or 0208-455-5977. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you. Your name and where you calling us from?
This is Iranti, the radio counselor.
Radio counselor. Thank you for calling. Go on.
My brother, this government, they cannot give accountability because from the top to the bottom, they are questionable character to us. That is a personal problem. Do you remember when Jonathan was the president of Nigeria? Who was the person that attacking Jonathan every day and night? In fact, they have not even did to Tinubu what he did to Jonathan. Oh, 1 quarter. He said that removing fuel subsidy is a taboo. He called other people to go out and protest against Jonathan. That Jonathan cannot give accountability. So my brother that is the studio, I don't understand the side he's saying. The Bible says whatever thing is true, that is what he did. What Tinubu is doing, they have not done quarter. That is quarter to what he did to Jonathan. He got Jonathan a lot of names, this and that, condemned Jonathan.
All right.
People can never see accountability because, one, they are backing those money for election.
Okay, thank you.
They cannot private anybody.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you. 0907-7106-501 or 0208-455-5977. Now is the time for you to call to be part of the conversation. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Political Fireworks. Edoman, thank you for calling. Very well, thank you. Go on.
I think one of the problems I am having in your case now, personally, I know people, I'm not talking of others. See, it's not that things is not bad before the start. So you watch that things bad. That is why you contest. There was a pastor, Reverend Bajabian, not Bajabian, something like that. That the man always said, he told Tinubu, say, you watch it very well, then you now say a new call. That is, it's my turn. So what we are expecting is that you're supposed to change most of the things. Your guest in the studio is now saying that the things was bad, that the thing was raining before. When the thing is raining before that, you should come and worsen it. So your guest in the studio is telling us that the past administration, this present administration is better than the past administration. That is what I normally have a personal hate. That is just to if anybody come to that studio, he is talking that Nigeria is better now.
Thank you, Edoman.
I think that the person should not one-on-one.
No, don't take it personal. Edoman, thank you. Okay, 0907-7106-01. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening to you. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Okay, go on. 1 minute.
I feel that people is in the opposition.
Right.
Because the government is always fond of increasing everything. This is almost times 2. And what we are not even seeing is the visibility of what they use the money for. The economy is not growing. It's not a hyperinflation government. Each time inflation is okay now. I bet towards giving us transparent governance if they are using such right votes to ameliorate certain things. Where have been sure that Nigerian voting system will be transparent and people will get the need to choose the leader. You see, this money are given into these agencies. The agencies they are funding that are not visible, they are not registered in Nigeria. So, for accountability.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much for your take there. Let's take some more calls here. Hello.
Good
Victor.
Chief Comrade, good evening to you.
Thank you very much. Pat, I greet him where he is. This
He
is
can hear you.
Civilian General.
Okay, Civilian General. Sorry. Go on.
Thank you. There's one thing I enjoy so much and I always look back to is the statement made by the former president, Jonathan. He said there are two people you find, he said that it's easier for you to wake somebody who is asleep. But it's very, very difficult to wake somebody who pretend to be sleeping. We have this government, they pretend to be sleeping and there's nothing, no amount of truth you bring to them, they will listen to. Because as far as we are concerned, they are not there to change the narrative. They are there because they believe it is their turn to be there. And since it is their turn to be there, anything they like, they can do.
Right.
So talking to them and these days, I look at it as wasting our saliva and all this because they pretend to be sleeping.
Thank you, Civilian General. Thank you. Keep your calls coming. We take one more call and then we get back to our guests. 0907-710-6501 or 0208-455-5977. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening to you. What's your name and where you calling us from? Uncle Sam, thank you for calling. Go on.
Your political analyst telling us that APC is too big enough. So that means APC is too big enough to misappropriate.
Go on, I can hear you.
He defended APC that is too big enough. Answer this question. And secondly, since 25, they say they made so many reforms, financial reforms, that the thing that they said, somebody said, one BD or Pencom has said that the pension has been increased from 18,000 to 206,000. Whereas that is a scam, that is a fact. So is it not say the APC? We were told earlier on Tuesday that by Tinubu that Tinubu was rich enough.
Right.
That he is not going to touch our money. That's not. We don't see any cover.
All right, thank you.
The treasury have been used by APC that is too big enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for your take there. Now let's get back to it, guys. That's all we can take. We are almost out of time. Let's get to I guess here. Now, Hartley Jaja. Now with 2027 approaching, could unresolved questions around huge expenditures like this one, 12.8 trillion naira, become a major campaign issue? What do you think?
Like I said, I'm not here as a political spokesperson to APC. I'm here as a common man, as a public affair analyst, and also as a political affair analyst.
Right.
And this is not me trying to blow the bubbles of the APC. But like I mentioned earlier and I stated, APC is the biggest political party in the whole of sub-Saharan Africa as it stands now. APC is capable, more than capable, to handle their internal and external elections without even needing support from anywhere. The APC has their own funds to fund their elections, and they are very much prepared, judging that they have the majority of political actors in the country, those 7. So it's very unfounded and a very large guess to feel that the current administration is pilfering funds to contest election. That is a very wide accusation.
Thank you,
what I'm saying.
All right, Pat, now over to you. what lessons?
His last submission is totally not correct. If you say they are public officers, everything they spend belongs to us. If they are private persons, remember, you can't forget in a hurry. This was how the cliche. PDP is the largest party today. The carcass. So because the funds the PDP was using to end that appellation wasn't an individual money. It was owned by the people. So you cannot justify that they are too big based on their public office. Everything, once you're a governor, the only thing we don't own is the air they breathe. Every resource, every material they spend till the day they leave the office belong to the people, belong to all of us. So you can't justify to say that's why they are too big not to misappropriate. Now, but more importantly, why there is need for scrutiny, don't forget we are still trying to digest the fake presidential agency, what have you. The
fake
reason
agency.
for that is failure to scrutinize. Yes, it's failure to scrutinize, and when you hear very large sum amount like this with government circles, it provides opportunity for people to begin to maneuver and all that. So that is even the danger and the importance why we must scrutinize and make stronger demands for financial transparency and financial discipline.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much, Pat Obiene. Thank you so much, Hasley Jaja, for those insightful thoughts and sharp analysis as always.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor.
God bless Nigeria.
All right, reverse people and all Nigerians, 12.8 trillion naira is not pocket money or change. It's money taken from the same treasury that should be delivering roads, schools, hospitals, and security. Now, Atiku has asked the big question. Where exactly is this question going to? Why the limited transparency? Will the presidency provide full disclosure and calm public anxiety? Or will these massive votes become another flashpoint of distress as we head toward 2027? Now, don't forget the fireworks haven't leaked. Right here, the nation is watching closely. The answers or the silence could speak louder than any budget speech. This has been Political Fireworks and Family Love 97.7 FM Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining this crucial conversation and doing this with me. Always stay informed as demand accountability and protect your future. Victor Peter is my name, right here on Family Love 97.7 FM. Don't forget we're on Facebook. Facebook is Family Love 97.7 FM. You can find me on Facebook. My Facebook name is Victor Peter. Instagram is Vix_Peter. X Vix_Sensation. Until tomorrow, I leave in the hands of Robinson Akpu for the Rush Hour Show. See you tomorrow on Political Fireworks.
7. This is Love 24/7.
Nigerians know how to hustle.
9 to 5, 5 to 9, side gigs, weekend gigs.
We know